And hello, welcome everyone to this video. So in this video, I will continue where I'll try to continue where I left off many months ago in February 8, 2022, where I was exploring Python's OPCUA. I was actually going through some of the source code and I had to rewatch the video to see where I left off. But yeah, basically, I'm back in this because my research work has gotten me back into OPCUA with Python. So here I am documenting things again for myself, first and foremost, of course. But if it's useful, whatever. Yeah. So here for myself, okay. The last time I went through mostly for myself anyway. So anyway, I have you see this URI and everything, and I think this video we want to start talking about how to add, what are nodes, how to add nodes, add objects to the nodes and everything. So again, just want to make things clear, I'm just going to use Paint, though sometimes I like to use GIMP, it's a lot nicer. Okay, so what are nodes? Yeah, you'll see nodes over here. If you look at Python Asyncua, okay, so this is where the source code is. You can just git clone everything. Actually, you don't even have to git clone. You just do pip install. I think it's enough. But if you take a look at the server minimal, okay, the server minimal right here, it talks about nodes, objects, and variables. It also has this methods thing. What are all these about? So if you know the concept of object-oriented programming, you know the first thing, it's all centered around the class. Oops, it's all centered around classes, right? It's all centered around classes. And under each class, you can nest it under a namespace. You can nest it under a namespace. And under each class, you can have methods, which are functions. And you can have variables, properties, whatever. Okay, and you just call them variables here for simplicity's sake, because you can have properties, you can have attributes. I don't know what else you can stuff under there. So I guess the oversimplified way of saying this is that namespace, you can sort of think of it as a node. Okay, a node sort of you can think about it as a namespace. Okay, you can sort of think about it as namespace, and you can have multiple namespaces. You can have namespaces nested within namespaces. So I'm not I'm kind of learning as I go, so don't expect too much. Yeah, but classes, you can kind of think of it as the object in this sense of this data hierarchy, and under the objects you can have methods and variables. So that's about the same. So yeah, nothing too new there. Just one distinctive thing between the two methods. I mean, between a UA method, because you actually add a method to the OPCUA server, OPCUA object. So okay, let's slow down first. First, I'm actually adding an object. See, under the server, it has this nodes object, and to this nodes object, I add an object called my object here. And under this object, I stuff in a variable. So that's a double or whatever. It could be a string double, anything you want. Python doesn't really, I guess it auto types it for you. It's not like C#, not like Rust where you have to so-called statically type it, which I prefer that way. It's way more it's way more universal, I guess, and it's way more concrete, so you don't have these typing errors. But anyway, Python's easy, so we'll stick with that framework. So here is where you make the variable writable by clients, means you can change this value. Yeah, you can change this value. So this will be good if you need to use this variable as an input rather than an output. So this is where you set the you add a method. Yeah, see the UA method is called func right here. Func. So you add the func method to the object. So this object has a variable and a method. So this is the bare minimum. one object, one method. And this method, how can you call it? And how do you activate this method? Do you run it over here? Okay, not necessarily. What happens is that the client will actually use this. It will connect to the server. So this is the code for the server. Very simple. In a sense, there's 40 lines. But of course, the first timer may not be that simple. But compared to C#, it is very simple. So that's where I'm coming from. Okay, so this node object, yeah, this is actually they get this node object. Inside it there's a method, yes, and the method will be called by the client. So the client will connect to this endpoint or address, which I did say previously. You can set the endpoint to whatever you want. Okay, whatever address you want, just make sure that this is a valid IP address right here. This has to be a valid IP address, and this has to be a valid port number. And then you just copy and paste this whole thing together. Right, so that's the thing. And you can even do it over your local area network, your LAN network, your Wi-Fi network. That's about it. Yeah. Even if you want to have it online, you can have an endpoint that's online. I believe it's possible if you own that namespace, if you own this address or whatever. Okay. In theory, it should be possible. I just don't know how to do it at this point in time. So, so the function, yeah, the function here at the end of the day, it is called by the client. So when the client talks to the server will receive the instruction to execute the function and return the value. So what's going on here? You'll see that the node ID is that it's a server method and it's a node ID 2. The UA qualified name is again server method and it has number 2. So this is what the method will be known by in the client. So there'll be a function which is this UA method right here, function that you're putting in here. And what is this? UA variant type integer 64. So this is a UA variant type. Okay, this you should know that this function is a very strongly typed value. Okay, strongly typed thing. So it cannot be like Python. You put in strings, you put in doubles, whatever. It has to be according to here. Over here it says it has to be an integer, so you can only put integers in. So the client can only put integers in here, and then the method itself will return an integer. So you can take a look at the add method, Python opcua. So server methods.py. Oh, this is the example. So let me just fast forward to wherever we are. So where can you actually find these types? Yeah, where can you actually find these types? You can actually find these types, I guess, over here under UA binary or UA types. So if you search for int64, yeah, you'll be able to find several types. int64 actually comes out under UA binary. Under UA types, you can also find the same. For example, over here. So this, where is this UA? So if you go to the OPCUA asyncIO GitHub, you can open asyncua, and yeah, it's github.dev, not github.com. You can use that. You can change the github.com to github.dev, and it will convert you to VS Code. Server.py is here, but what you are interested in looking in is the UA. So close the server and go to UA binary and UA types. This is where you can find all the stuff. And then under server, you can also find the code for the object. So let me close that. So here under server.py, you can find a lot of things in the source code. So I'm just going to explore a little bit now. There's a lot of things here. What is the thing I'm looking at? I'm looking at add method. I want to look for add method. Add method. Okay, so let's see where add method is defined. Probably not here. Let's see whether we have a go to definition. Hey, yes. Oh, wrong one. add method. Let's go to definition here. Okay, so this is where the sync method is done. Synchronous method, async UA. Oh yeah. So somewhere here it says it will just get self and arcs, which is not very helpful, but it's not very telling of what this what this method is actually doing. So let me fast forward to where it is, if I can find it in time. Okay, so I have done some of the tracing, and here is where we go. It was a bit hard to find documentation on it because if you just look at the OPCUA server class and client class on the OPCUA documentation, there's like nothing there. Okay, so maybe you can take a look at the older documentation of OPCUA, but it is not here. Yeah, so yeah, OPCUA async IO, read the docs. So this is an asynchronous one. So well, that is what we have. Yeah, that's what we have. So we can't really do too much with this. Oops. Yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, yeah, not much we can do here. So I'm good. I did this. The add method, and I did this go to definition under using Visual Studio Code Online. It just brings us to asyncua. This is the sync.py. So sync.py, where is it? Okay. Sync.py is right at the root. It is at the beginning, so to speak. Okay. Yeah, sync.py is here. And add method doesn't really do much. It doesn't really tell you very much in the way of what are the correct inputs and outputs to give it. So we had to look somewhere else. So basically I thought, okay, maybe we can take a look at the common things. Under common, we can take a look at nodes, because we are after all adding a method. We're adding a method to the object under the node. So here's the add method function. Add method or function. Add method function is right here. And then it says, okay, you return create method. So it links yet to another method called create method. Create method. Why is create method done? Okay, create method is not defined here, but it says from manage nodes, import all of these things. Create method. So create method is found under manage nodes. So let's take a look at where manage nodes is. Okay, manage nodes is right here under manage nodes.py. Okay, go to manage nodes.py and you just search for create method. It's already here, but I'm just showing you. I'm searching it right here. Create method is right here. So it says async def create method parent arcs. So again, not very useful. However, if you take a look at the return type, it says make node parent server await create method with another underscore. So this one you can see what are the inputs already. So parent, node ID, queue name, callback. Okay, inputs, outputs. So that function name is probably what you would call the callback. So you go to definition and you see this create method with underscore. It looks for the parent. So you take a look here. Well, parent doesn't seem to be defined, but it may be parent. Maybe it's a self thing, because I think this method is under a class or something like that. So the first thing you give is this node ID. So you see this node ID thing is given. I'm not going to explore what the source code of this node ID is, but just explore the inputs and outputs. So the next thing is queue name or qualified name. So the qualified name is put here, UA qualified name. So just follow that. The callback is this func thing here. So it's the name of the function, which is called the callback. Then you have to put in inputs and then outputs. Okay, inputs and outputs. Okay, so I don't if you want to take a look at how to see these inputs here, what are these inputs? You can apparently I think you can put in an object type. You can put in an object type or a very more complex input than just integer 64, and output can be more than integer 64. But yeah, basically these are the things you need to give it. So you add method to the object using this add method function. Okay, under node.py. Okay, maybe yeah. So now that you know what is the underlying code to this create method under manage nodes.py, you should know how to use it now. Okay, and then of course we have this template to go with it, but if you want to take a look what's the code behind, here it is. Okay, so here's the part where you can start the server. So I'm not going to go through too much of that, and this time I'm going to be using I think NeoVim on Windows. Sometimes I will switch back to my Arch computer, but now I have a Windows thing today, so I will just work with that. All right, so here are some things to actually get you started. Let me go to my Git repository. Okay, maybe don't need a Git repository first. First thing first, I want to introduce us to, or at least remind myself, yeah, there are some interesting tools to use. One is called the node monitor. Okay, because I want the Python to actually watch the source code files and restart when I save. So let's say I open neovite now, neovite.exe. Okay, and let me cd to documents. Oh, right, I need to go to drive D. Documents. Okay, and doc. Okay, maybe I'll go here, open the directory, and then maybe I want to make a new Python file here. Okay, at node OPCUA. I'll just call this OPCUA for everything OPCUA related, and I'll change it to this node, and then I'll just add a server.py or test server, play server.py. Okay, so one thing I found very nice is that, okay, I want just like C# has a .NET watch function, Rust has a cargo watch option. What can you do with Python? Okay, Python has a equivalent. Let me do lsp server install. Yeah, but Python has a lsp install server. Yes, please. So yeah, Python also has this watch function. Yeah, but you kind of have the easiest way according to Stack Overflow, and who is this? Binsky, looks like Bikinsey 808, this user. So he seems to be like, okay, the easiest way is to use this thing called node monitor, and then you will automatically watch your Python file for any things, and you should be able to do a Python watch. So if I open a PowerShell to the right. Okay, I'm going to open the PowerShell. Okay, so I'm going to go to OPCUA, and what I'm going to do here is, well, I can do Python play server.py, and of course it won't return anything because there's no code here. However, every time I change the code, yeah. For example, I can do print hello world. Yeah, if I do something like that, okay. Okay. Yes, that's the language server protocol. So it should return me some errors quite soon. Yes, there you go. Okay, so print hello world. So Python play server.py, and then it says hello world. Fine. Okay, so it's gonna get very annoying at times if we keep doing this over and over again. Every time I change the Python file, I have to manually run the Python file. So I don't like to do that. So the way to do it is to install Node Monitor. So how to install Node Monitor? Okay, on Linux you can do it in a different way, but over here Node Monitor you can install here using npm Node Package Manager. So let's try Node Package Manager. I think it should work here. You should install Node Package Manager if you have it. Okay, so I have a Node Monitor. I'll use Node Package Manager to install. However, on Arch Linux, Node Monitor, nodemon. Okay, Node Monitor is on Arch Linux, I believe. Nodemon Arch Linux. It's under an AUR package, so you can use the AUR helper such as Paru to install. I did that, but here's the Windows version. So let's see if it works. It says it's installed. Let's try running npm nodemon. Okay, so yeah, after installing it via Node Package Manager, you should be able to install now run Python quite easily. So nodemon play server.py. So you see, hello world, and then I can print ABC123, and then that's it. Node Monitor will say, all right, now you have a ABC123. I can even copy the whole server thing here. Okay, I can just copy the whole server code, server minimal.py. So I'm going to copy everything here. Just copy, and I'm going to paste it here. Here we go. So it says app crashed. It says no modules name asyncua. Obviously now you have to install asyncua. So I'm going to open this tab up. We'll open this tab up, and it says, oh, pip install asyncua. Let's try pip install asyncua. So let's close this, pip install asyncua. So I'm going through very fast how to get this thing working in a very convenient setup. Okay, so asyncua is getting installed, as you can see over here. So we'll just let it install. So yeah, this is a very convenient setup. I think I would like to use that and keep using that. So let's try this again. So the app doesn't crash this time. So you see the UA server is running. Okay, so I will just allow this to run, allow access. You see, asyncua value is now set and all that. So that's perfect. So every time we just make a change here, whatever you see on the right will automatically change as well. So that's very, very useful. Okay, so this is our minimal server. So for example, the thing that you see here, it says set value of node string 2 or something like that. I equals 2 to this value. So where does that come from? It actually comes from this line. So you can see over here that there is a while loop going on with the server after you start it up. Yeah, so we talk about the add method and everything. It's a little bit long, as you can see here. We can use a formatter to auto format the thing. But yeah, here basically it says, yeah, new value equals my variable. Okay, my variable is over here. It was originally at a value of 6.7. Now you're adding 0.1 every 1 second. So here's await async IO sleep. That means wait for 1 second. After 1 second, you change the value of this my variable. Okay, you change the value of my variable to this new value. You print it out over here using my variable and new value, and then you start writing the value to, you write the value of my variable. Okay, my variable is here, and we set it to be writable by clients, but we actually write the value using the server-side code by adding 0.1. So I can just basically change this instead of 0.1 to 10.1. You can see it's actually increasing 10.1 seconds at a time. I mean 10.1 at a time. So I'm 0.1 at a time. I want to change it to 10.1. I'm going to change it. It will auto restart. Yeah, node monitor will auto restart. And see, now it is now increasing by 10.1 at a go. A very useful tool right here called node monitor. Again, kudos, thanks to whoever is this gentleman here or lady. I do not know who's behind here. So Kinsey 808. So that is it. These are some of the tools I want to remember that I used and I like, and I think that's convenient to use. Okay, see it. So I'll probably do more in the next video, such as, okay, let's see whether we can look at a very simple client to yeah, do a very simple client such that I can just you know, take a look at what these values are, see whether I can access this UA method. Okay, so I mean there's a console client, but also there's a graphical user interface client, which is much easier and more intuitive to use. So yeah, enough for this video log. Yes. Till next time.